Yeah, welcome to the house of Advaita Vedanta Satsang. The current sessions are on Aparokshanubhuti, and Bindoji is offering us these in-depth sessions on this aspect of Aparokshanubhuti. This is the seventh class, so the replays are available in Clubhouse if you want to catch up on the other six sessions or the earlier talks. Uh, or you can go to the YouTube channel where they are, arranged as playlists, so you can easily access them. And the house the rules, just up to, generally what we do is shut down the chat, close the chat and the hand raising when Binduji is giving us this session for about an hour, and then we'll open up for the chat and hand raising for question and answers. Over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Prakash, I just want to make that announcement here as well as at the end so that, for instance, people here or on the beginning of the replay, if they don't get to the end, that I think people know that it's been announced here that there's a retreat happening this weekend that Binduji will be at, as well as some other people who are house members here will be on that retreat. So in respect of their time being together, we will not have rooms here this Friday nor this Sunday. And after this room, that'll be reflected in the Clubhouse calendar. And also I'll make a house chat. And then we will resume classes here next Wednesday. So just 5 days from now. Just wanted to be sure everybody knew. That's all I've got there on that. Sorry, Binduji.
Yep. Thank you, Admission. Thank you, Prakash. Want to say anything, Prakash?
I just forgot to mention that the text for this particular session, the Aparokshanubhuti text, one of them is pinned on the top, which has the English commentary from Vimuktānanda. And the other one is just purely Sanskrit in the chat. So I'm just repeating that. But for those who are interested in new, they can catch up. Over to you, Binduji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Admission. Welcome all. Let us dive straight into the class. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahmavidyā Sampradaya-kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Veda Vipakine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. श्रीहरिं परमानन्दम् उपदेष्टारमीश्वरम् व्यापकं सर्वलोकानां कारणं तं नमाम्यहम्. So in the last class, we completed the sādhana-catuṣṭaya, the fourfold requirement for a true seeker. Viveka, vairāgya, vairāgya, viveka, or as in this book, Shat Sampatti, the sixfold personality requirement, and mumukṣutā, mokṣa ichcha. So what basically it is that were the intense desire for liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from the, what you call, samsara. Samsara in the scriptural language, it is the repeated birth and death and the, uncertainty and ephemerality of life, which results in problems like, unhappiness, dissatisfaction, and anger out of that, etc. All those things are happening, and we continue to go through this again and again. In spite of repeated problems which are coming to us, we never learn from them. Only those who have applied their mind through viveka and vairāgya are the people who really analyze why is that I am going through the sufferings. Even happiness is not the happiness which is everlasting. They are all momentary in nature and related to objects which are supposed to be bringing the happiness momentarily. And the objects themselves being momentary in nature, since they are having a birth and death in the sense appearance and disappearance or creation and destruction, they do not permanently give me the happiness. Even if it is available with us all the time, the same object, so many things we have acquired in our life, thinking it is going to give us happiness. After a period of time, they are lying as waste in the house and wastage of effort and time and money, but they stop giving the same happiness which they gave when I first acquired them. So these are all the what is called the samsara. So a person who has really inquired into that, the nature of life and the qualities of life, the ephemerality of objects and their effects on me, turns towards something permanent. He wants to know, is there anything which is really permanent in this ever-changing world? And when he gets introduced into the teachings, or when he gets an exposure, even if it is for a one time in his lifetime, when he gets introduced into the possibility of achieving a permanent happiness, such a person starts his journey through the disassociation from what he has been doing till then and pursues the path to know and how to achieve this happiness. Such a person develops intense need for liberating himself from the ephemeralities of the world. And this, on the contrary, instead of taking him towards the world of enjoyment, makes him more self-conscious and awareness and working towards his own happiness. And this in turn gives the person the required intellect and dispassion by the personality development and his intellectual development, with the peace of mind to guard himself to being pulled back into the world of enjoyments. Such a person has the intense desire, and this is given as an example in the scripture as a person who is having fire for his clothes. In the scripture, it is for his matted hair lock. The way he will be desiring the presence of water, or where the water is there, to jump into the water, whether it is a pond or a river or whatever it is, to quench that fire. That desire, what is there in such a person, is the intensity what is being referred in the scripture, that is the intensity of a person who wants to get away from the world of ephemerality. So the world is samsara is compared to the fire which is engulfing him, and the desire to save himself from the world of the enjoyment or world of ephemerality is compared to the desire of the person to quench the fire which is engulfing him. So this is the mumukṣutā, what has been referred in the last shloka. Now the shloka number 10 onwards, the book is taking us to further refinement of our viveka. How the viveka will be, which should be, and how it will be helpful. Ukta sadhana yuktena vicāra purushena hi kartavyat jnana siddhyartam atmana śubham icchata. So, ukta sadhana. Ukta sadhana means, ukta means what has been told. Sadhana means the means. Yuktena, one who has endowed with that. So, ukta sadhana yuktena means a person who is endowed with the above mentioned qualities, qualifications. Atmanaha śubham icchata. Atmanaha means of the one's own or his own, the one who has got this qualification for his own. Śubham icchata means, śubham means good. Ichchita means desired, one who desires for his own benefit. Purushena. So that is the adjective of the Purusha or the person who is wanting his own goodness. He is the word which is for verily or indeed or only. Jnana siddhyartam. Jnana, knowledge. Siddhyartam means with a view of attaining or for desirous of attaining. Vicāraha kartavya. Vicāraha means reflection or nididhyasana, manana nididhyasana. Kartavya means should be done or practiced. So a person who has desire for his own benefit, who will not have a benefit, desire to have his own benefit. Virtually everyone want the best for themselves. So the Shruti is not excluding anyone, or the text is saying that everyone who has a desire for his own well-being or goodness, such a person endowed with the above mentioned fourfold qualities should now embark upon what is called the enquiry or constant reflection into the nature of one's own, the teachings. And here Vidyaranya starts with this. Idam sādhana-catuṣṭayam yadartham apanyastam tadidanim darshayati. Idam means this. Sādhana-catuṣṭayam is that fourfold qualities. What is vairāgya, viveka, sādhana-catuṣṭaya, and mumukṣutā. Idamartham apanyastam means which has been described earlier. Tadidanim is now being darshayati means is being shown, which is tadidanim darshayati. For what purpose? For reference to the intended purpose. The purpose is what? Aparokshanubhuti or the liberation. So liberation is the intended purpose, which is not directly referred here in the shloka, but that is the intended purpose of the shloka. Ukta iti. So in the ukta iti in the shloka means, ukta means it has been said, is a phrase which is indicating about the brahmādi ityārabhya vaktavya sa mumukṣutā ityanda grantha sandarbhena varnitani yani vairāgyādi sādhanāni jnānopakaranāni. Brahmādi, the passage beginning with the Brahmādi. Brahmādi is the shloka which started with Brahmādi and ending with mumukṣutā, the last shloka which we just finished it, refers to all the disciplines such as vairāgya, viveka, shat-sampatti and mumukṣutā. These are all called instruments of knowledge. Jnānopakaranāni. So the verse slokas which are referring are the instruments for knowledge. They are not by itself not knowledge. They are required for getting the knowledge or acquiring the knowledge. Being the instruments, the dispassion, the discernment, the sixfold qualities, and the need, intense desire for liberation. All these things are the instruments of knowledge. Taihi yuktena purushena adhikarina dehavata manishyotamena. So purushena is the word used which in the shloka. So Idiranya Swami is mentioning that taihi yuktena. Yuktena means endowed with, or one who is qualified with. Taihi means the instruments of knowledge. Purushena is the word which is there in the shloka. So who is that? Adhikarina. He only becomes the one who is the eligible. Adhikari means the one who is eligible. Dehavada, and it means to indicate that he is among the human beings. Manishya Uttamena, but he is the Uttama means highest type. Manishya Uttamena means among the men there are millions and millions of people. Out of that, one who is endowed with all these fourfold quality, he stands apart, and he is the one who is eligible for the knowledge of Aparokshanubhuti. He, there is a word he in the shloka. Iti vidvat prasiddhatvena vakshyamana lakshana. That is said in accordance with the definition that is established. Vidvat. Vidvat means among the wise people. So the word he is to give an endorsement that this is well endorsed by the wise people, that only such person who has endowed with the fourfold qualifications will become a most eligible candidate for receiving the knowledge. Yadva hi iti avyayameva arthe anya nishedartha ityartha. Or alternatively, yad va means alternatively. This is an non-declinable. The word he, iti avyayena. Anya nishedartha ityartha. This is in the sense of denial of anything contrary. What is anything contrary here? there is a standard belief that, by doing the yajna, upasana, etc., also one can achieve moksha. So to deny that anya sadhanani, anya nishedhartha, so only knowledge can result in mumukṣutā. That is why the word he, it is the non-declinable avyaya is being used, arthe used. Vicāro viveka kartavya avartayitavya. Kimartam? Vicāro viveka kartavya avartayitavya. Kimartam ityada aha jnana siddhyartham. Now the vichara viveka, the inquiry and the viveka, discernment or discrimination, kartavya means must be performed. And avartayitavya means again and again. Avarti means repetition. Repeated again and again. Kimartam? For what purpose or why should he do such a person? Ityata aha, if that is the case, the reply is that jnana siddhyartham. For the accomplishment of knowledge. Now, the question which is not mentioned here, but we should discuss about this here, is that if knowledge is something which is accomplished, whatever has been accomplished can be lost. If I accomplish a house, I can lose a house. If I accomplish anything in my life, I can lose that. So, for the accomplishment, jnana siddhyartham, this is the question which normally opponent asks. If it is something which is accomplished, that jnana, like any other accomplishment, can be lost. Is it not? No. Atmana jnana siddhyarthe brahmatma ikya bodha udbhavaya. Here is the answer for that. This is jnana is of not any other object but yourself. And you are not acquiring anything new. Atmanaha. And in what form is the knowledge coming? Brahma Atma Aikya Bodha Udbhavaya. That knowledge, we all know who we are. There is no doubt about it. But we do not know the detail of how we are or who we are or what we are. So, Vijayananda Swami is mentioning that Jnana Siddhyarthe means the knowledge of what type of knowledge? Brahma Atma Aikya Bodha Udbhavaya. The identification of myself as Brahman. That experience or bodha, anubhava, udbhavaya, to have that as a self-experience. Yat sakshat aparokshat Brahma. That what is my true nature. That I am not a limited individual, which I have been thinking till now as myself. But I am that eternal, infinite bliss nature is what is that of Brahman, and I am not different from Brahman. This knowledge should arise in me. as what? There's the word siddhyartham, attainment of that. Now, a knowledge is the only thing which, when you attain, you cannot lose it. You may forget it. You may forget it, no doubt about it. But you may forget everything, but you can never forget yourself. Some knowledge which is talking about yourself. So you cannot even forget it. So it is that knowledge of oneself as Brahman, which is now what is being indicated here as that what is being accomplished. Nanu atmajnana siddhaya siddhya kaha purushartaha. Nanu means, here it's a question which is coming. What is the purpose of attaining the self-knowledge? Atmajnana siddhya kaha purushartaha. What purushartha, what human goal is it going to serve? Or what is the purpose of that jnana? No, because, we have the standard, this thing, no? Prayojanam anuddishya namandobi pravartade. Without the result, not even a dull head will be prompted to work anything, to work towards anything. So here the question is from that such a person that why should I study Aparokshanubhuti? What is the good going to give me? What human goal? What is my achievement going to be by that? Iti asankya mokshakyam chaturtha purushartha rupam phalam dyotayat. If that is the question or the doubt, if you are having in your mind, mokshakyam, what is named as the fourth, as moksha, among the four dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the fourfold human goals which has been mentioned in the Shastra. Out of the fourth one, fourth Purushartha is Chaturtha Purushartha Rupam. What is that? Mokshakyam. In the name of moksha, what is known as moksha, phalam dyotayat, is the result what is being indicated by here. That means the Atmajnana is the Purushartha, what is called the moksha here. Purushartho visinashti śubham iti. Purushartha. The word śubham, or in the shloka, śubham iti, śubham ichchita, that is the word there. So one who is desirous of goodness for himself, or auspiciousness or blessedness, is a qualification for the Purushartha or the moksha. So among the Purushartha, visinashti means śubham. What is being auspicious is what is called by the word śubham here. Śubham paramananda rupatvena mangalam mokṣasugam ityartha. So it is not just a sukham, happiness, or or goodness or auspiciousness, something like that. Paramananda rupatvena. Param ananda. Param ananda means extreme. Param means extreme. Ananda means bliss. The extreme bliss where there is nothing other than that. Rupatvena means by the characteristic of it. the sukham or the shubham or the moksha, what is being told, liberation and bliss are now being equated. Mokshakyam means liberation. They're called liberation. And that is now being referred here as Paramananda Rupatvena. Mangalam Moksha Sugam. So how can liberation be bliss? Supreme bliss, Paramananda Sugam. We studied in the Taittiriya, Idara mantaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Even if you think of an iota is separate from you, of anything, then you are limited. And in limitation, you have the problem of insecurity, fear, limitation, all those things which are related to the otherness. So, Paramananda Rupatvam, or the nature of being characterized by the supreme bliss, can happen only when it is totally liberated. That liberation is the one which there is no limitation for it. It is not the nature of bliss. It is the uniqueness in the nature of being where there is no limitation. Therefore, it is supreme or extreme bliss. And it is auspiciousness, Mangalam. So, Ichchita Prarthayatha Atmanaha Shubham iti va Anvayaha. In other meaning, or the meaning is one who desires or seeks. Here, Ichchita means Prarthayata, means one who desires or seeks. Both the meanings are the same. Atmanaha Shubham. This happiness of for oneself. Atmanaha, for oneself. Shubham means the highest good. Should engage in vicāra of the self-realization. So if you have a inclination or not mere inclination, but an intense desire for the good of yourself, for the best for yourself, if that is your desire, but if you are willing to compromise and do things, then there are many things in the world where you can be happy momentarily, keep on changing things, you will keep on getting happiness from change of things. But if you are the one who is looking for the best and uncompromised, unlimited, never, lapsing or never diminishing, that type of a goodness or happiness is what your desire is there, then you should inquire into the nature of self for self-realization or realization of the self-knowledge. This knowledge about yourself only can liberate you. Therefore, the next verse goes into jnanasya avashyakata, the need for the knowledge. So, vichara kartavya, you have to do the inquiry into the nature of self for the knowledge of self. So, why should I should go for the knowledge of the self? The next shloka says, Na utpadyate vina jnanam vicārena anya sādhanaihi yada padartha bhanam hi prakāshena vina kvachit. So when we look into this words vicārena vina, without this inquiry or this seeking of the truth, anya sadhanaihi, by other means for knowledge, jnanam na utpadyate. The knowledge about self cannot come from any other means of knowledge. Vicāra is the only, or the discernment about method which is being mentioned in the text or in the Shastra, is the only means by which the knowledge about the self can take place. Na anya sadhanaihi, not by any other means. Utpadyate means it is affected or taking place. Now he is giving an example. Kvachit means anywhere. Yadahi padartha bhanam, just as the knowledge of objects, prakashena vina na utpadyate. If you want to know an object in the pitch darkness, what is available in that room or what is available around your surrounding, you will never know unless there is light. In the absence of light, no object can be seen and their presence will not be known. Same way, the happiness or the ultimate bliss which we are talking about cannot be achieved without the knowledge about the self. It is not any other knowledge we are talking about here. It is talking about the knowledge about the self. For that, the vicāra is required. So, the other means which are being referred are karma, upasana, etc. Why? Because karma and upasana, etc. are done with the knowledge that I am the doer, I am the meditator, etc. But that doesn't give you the answer to who am I or what is my nature. It is presumes that I am the doer. It presumes I am the one who is meditating. This presumption itself is a product of ignorance. So, ignorance, the antidote is only knowledge. And not any kind of knowledge, but the knowledge about the self. Because here we are talking, I am the doer. While the action and the job and the work and etc. can be categorized, I am the doer, the who am I in that doer as a doer. That is never answered when I'm doing the job. It presumes that who am I? I'm the body or I'm the mind, etc. are the presumptions under which the activities are being done, which is part of the avidya. So here, Vidyaranya Swami is taking up this. Nanu jnana sadyarte vichara eva kartavya iti niyamha kuta kriyata. Where is the injunction in the Vedas that for the benefit of the knowledge or for the attainment of the knowledge. Vicāra kartavya, there is no, in the Shastra, there is nowhere there is a mentioning that vicāra kartavya. That is, you have to do the inquiry. In the Shastra, there is saying about, for Swarga, you have to do such and such a yaga. For the progeny, you have to do such and such a thing. For wealth, you have to do such and such a thing. All those things are injunctions in the Shastra. But nowhere in the Shastra there is a injunction that for the knowledge about oneself, vichara kartavya iti, iti vidhi vakya. Ityasangya sadrishtandamaha na utpadyate iti. The response is like that. A udaharan, sadrishtandam. Sadrishtandam means with an example. In the shloka, it is mentioned that na utpadyate. What? Without light, the knowledge about an object is never revealed in the darkness. So that is itself need not be in an injunction in the scripture. Why? Because the injunctions in the scripture is for things which are not known otherwise. For example, Swarga is not known. Had it been like any other location, like one city or the other city or one village or another mountain or a lake or etc., Shastra doesn't need. You don't need a Shastra to do that, because those are all things which are available. So what is available is never given as injunction in the scripture. Only what is not known to human beings, but what is known as atindriya, or which is beyond the sense organs, such things are injunctions from the Vedas or the scriptures. Here, an example, by giving the example that it is not visible, or you will not have the knowledge about an object in darkness without light, is a common knowledge. Like a product which is in the darkness, you need light to know it. Same way, about yourself, you know it. You don't need a Shastra scripture to tell you that the scripture injunction is required to know yourself. Everyone, including animals and birds, and everyone knows that its existence. They are aware of their self. That is why they have the self protection activities when it is being threatened, because they know they will be annihilated if they do not protect themselves. That is coming out of the knowledge about their own awareness about themselves. But what they are, or what the nature of self, that is not known. That's a different thing. For that, you need to do vichara. Vicharena vina anya sadhanaihi karmaupasana lakshanaihi jnanam na utpadyate. Without vichara, or inquiry into the nature of knowledge of self, it will not arise by means of rituals, anya karma upasana lakshanaihi, by karma rituals like karma and meditations. तत्र दृष्टान्तम् आहा यथा इति यथा क्वचित् कस्मिंश्चित् देशे सूर्यादि प्रकाशेन विना पदार्थभानं घटादि वस्तु प्रकाशो न भवति इति सर्वजनप्रसिद्धम् यथा क्वचित् means कस्मिंश्चित् देशे in one place or in particular place Suryadi prakashena vina without light from the sun etc. It can be sun, fire, lamp etc. Surya adi prakashena vina means without that padartha bhanam even though the material, the product is available or the material is available, it is not being effulgent without an external light. The product by itself is not self-effulgent. Either we need the daylight or we need a source of light. Ghadadi vastu prakasho na bhavati. Like the pot or the tree or the, or the animal or your items in the room, etc. If without light you cannot see, without illumination no one can see anything. He sarvajana prasiddham is commonly known to everyone. It is a universally accepted rule. Ataha niyama kriyataha idi bhavaha. Therefore, logically it is being established that inquiry alone, in the case of self-knowledge, it is necessary and the only appropriate method for the self-knowledge. This in vicāra is indispensable, is logically and experientially validated. Why logically? Logically, because the method in which the inquiry is being done is by the intellect. It is not a blind belief. It is not a faith, or it is not something that something is written in the scripture and you have to take it with blindfolded eyes. No, the Shastra is never asking you to take anything for granted. That's why Bhashya Shankaracharya has mentioned that if the Shastra says that it is night in the noon, such a Shastra is not valid. It has to be valid for everybody's experience. It is not one man's unique experience. It is sarvajana prasiddham. Every Tom, Dick and Harry will have the capability and the potency to know it. Because it is the self of everyone. And if one can know the self, everyone can know the self. All they have to do is the vicāra or the inquiry into it. So, here, the preamble for the inquiry has been well, explained both by the shloka and the commentary by Vidyaranya Swami. Now, what is this vicāra or what is this inquiry you are talking about? Jnana purvaka vicāra śubhava. Jnana purvaka means that which is prior to the accomplishment of knowledge of the self. Vicāra swarupa means the nature of vicāra. What type of vicāra or what type of inquiry will result in the knowledge of the self. That is being mentioned in the 12th verse. Koham katamidam jatam ko vai karta asya vidyate upadanam kimasti iha vichara soyam idrishaha. Vicharaha soyam idrishaha. Here he is referring to vichara. What is the nature of vichara? The enquiry. Saha ayam vicharaha is soyam vicharaha. That vichara, idrishaha. Idrishaha means it is like this. It is like this. The enquiry is like this. He is now giving examples. What is the type of enquiry which will result in the knowledge of the self? Koham. Who am I? Koham. Kaha aham. It is koham. Koham asmi. Who am I? Katham idam jatam. How is this created? Idam means this world. Normally, aham and idam are the words used in the Shastra to indicate the self and the rest of the self as the world, prapancha. So, idam jagat kadam jatam. How was this world created? So, not only who am I am also part of this world. So, be careful about it. When I am saying who is the world, who created the world, it includes me, who created me also. You cannot stand apart from the world and ask who created the world and I am separate from the world. No, you are also part of this world. The waker is part of the waking, the dreamer is part of the dream, etc. Kaha vai asya karta? Who indeed is the creator for this? Vidyate iha. Here I am seeing the world. Myself is there. So there must be somebody here who is the creator of this world. Not only that, upadanam kimasti. Upadanam means material cause. I am not only asking who is the intelligent cause for the creation, I also want to know what is the material from which he has made this world. So, this is the beginning of the self-enquiry. Who am I? We all know about it. We heard this question being asked by Ramana Maharshi, Nisargadatta Maharaj, but it is the same thing which Shankaracharya also wrote thousands of years back in his book. And that is the question which will last thousands or millions of years even after. This question will haunt anyone who is intelligent enough, not befooled by the world and entangled in the world of enjoyment of the world outside. A person who is fed up of the world, its ephemerality, such a person will be naturally inquiring about these questions. So, kim sat vicharaha tarhi, what is the kind of inquiry it is then? Ityata aha kohamiti. Who am I? Is the one. I am now reading the Vidyaranya Swami's commentary. Who am I is the question which is the vicharas to start with. Aham karta sukhi ityadi vyavahriyamanaha kaha kim surupaha. Aham karta. I am the doer. Aham sukhi, I am the enjoyer. Ityadi, vyavahriyamanaha, the one who is in the transactional capability as the doer and enjoyer. Who is that? Kaha. Kim Swarupaha. What is the true nature of that person? So here, Karta and Sukhi, the words are self-indicative, saying that the enjoyment is after a karma. If I do a karma, if I do something, I am having a consequence of it. So therefore, my sukha is depend upon my karma. So in the Vyavahriyamana, there is the transaction between the karta and the sukha. The link between the doer and the enjoyment. That also has to be taken into the consideration. So it's not only I am thinking, who am I doing that? Who is I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, but who is also the one? Swarupaha means that it has to be totally thought about. That who links my actions into my enjoyment? My actions are one side, my enjoyments are something separate from, as a result of my action. What links my actions to my results? This is what is the word Vyavahriyamana is indicating here. Tada idam jagat. Jagat means stavara jangamatmagam. Both movable and immovable. Stavaram means immovable. Jangamam means movable. Atmagam means by nature of. This world, idam jagat. So in the sloka, it's only the word idam is used. This movable and immovable world, which means the entirety of the world. Kadam, kasmat, jatam. How and from where has it come? Kim adhishtanam. What is the substratum? It is not only they have come, and they are also established, they are also supported in a substratum. So the substratum also has to be known for their existence. So not only I should know how it has come into this, the world has come into existence, from where it has come, and on which they are existing. That means Srishti Sthiti Laya. All the three are being covered in that word. Katam, Kasmat, Kimadhishthanam. So the creation, the sustenance, and the dissolution. Who is that? Who has done that? Tada asya pratyakshadi pramana siddhasya jagatah kartah utpadakah kaha vidyate. Tada, further, asya jagatah, in what form? This world, pratyakshadi pramana siddhasya, which appears real through perception and other means of knowledge. Pratyakshadi means pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, arthapatti, anupalabdhi, shabda, etc. All of them is in the way in which I am able to know the objects of the world. So, kaha utpadakaha, kaha karta, who is the creator or who is the doer or the originator? Vidyate means is a question mark for who is the creator or who is the originator. Iti vikalpam dyotayati. Kim jiva drishtam karta, kim va ishvara, kim va anyadeva kinchit. So the inquiry reveals multiple possibilities. Vikalpa, multiple. Dhyotayati means reveals. What? Kim jiva drishtam karta. That is the jiva. Is the Jiva the creator? Drishti Srishti. Jiva is seeing, therefore the Srishti is there. Kimva Ishvaraha. Or is there a God who is the creator, who creates the whole thing? Srishti Sthiti Laya Karanaha Karta. Kimva Anya Deva. Or is there something else entirely different from the Drishta, or the one who is the Jiva or the Ishvara? Kimcha Iha Jagati Upadanam Ghadasya Mritvat Kimasti. He has the potter and the pot. For the world, who is the intelligent cause and the material cause? Ghadasya Mritvat. For the pot, how the mud is a material cause, which implies that there is also a potter for the mud itself cannot become a pot without a potter. So the question implies the creator. I am Atma Jagat Karana Vishaha Idrishaha Evam Swarupaha Vicharaha. Thus, such an inquiry into the self, Atman, Atma Vicharaha, and the cause of the world. Not only you have to think about yourself, who am I? You have to also think about the cause of the world. Just by knowing yourself, you will not be satisfied. You will have to, because you are also part of the world. So not only how you have been created, you in the world also has to be created, because for you to enjoy, transact, and enjoyment or suffering, all those things, the world has been also created by somebody. The nature and the form of the world. This is the what is meant by true inquiry. Swarupaha, vicārasya swarupaha. The nature of inquiry has to be like this. Sa eva jnana sadhanam ityartha. And that alone is the means of knowledge, jnana sadhana. This is the intended meaning of the sloka. So we will continue the 13th sloka onwards in the next Wednesday class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Binduji. Very profound session for going deep into why vichara is important. So today was all about vichara. Thank you. We have, somebody has raised their hands. Yeah, we have about half an hour. So
Namaste,
anybody interested in
Bindoji.
coming up, please do
Namaste.
come.
Question ചോദിക്കാമോ മലയാളത്തില്?
The English?
Namaste Satya.
Namaste.
നമസ്തേ. ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിക്കാമല്ലോ, മലയാളത്തിൽ ചോദിക്കാമല്ലോ. ആ സാറൊന്ന് കൺവേർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് പറഞ്ഞു തന്നു.
ചോദിച്ചോളൂ.
അതായത് എന്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എന്താ വെച്ചാല്, നമ്മളിപ്പോ എല്ലാ സമയത്തും ഇപ്പോ ഞാൻ ബ്രഹ്മനാണ്, ബ്രഹ്മമാണ് എല്ലാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പരമാത്മാവാണ്, ഉള്ളിൽ പരമാത്മാവാണ് പറയും. പക്ഷെ നമ്മള് ജീവബോധത്തിൽ, അതായത് ശരീരബോധത്തിൽ നിൽക്കുമ്പോ നമ്മളിനകത്തുള്ള പലതരത്തിലുള്ള ചിന്തകൾ വരുമ്പോ, പലതരത്തിലുള്ള സ്വപ്നമായിട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അനുഭവമായിട്ടോ ഒക്കെ വരാം. അപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ എത്രത്തോളം നമ്മൾ ബ്രഹ്മനാണ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ബ്രഹ്മമാണ് എന്ന് നമുക്ക് എത്ര ശതമാനം നമുക്കത് ഫീൽ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഉൾക്കൊണ്ടുകൊണ്ട് ആ ബ്രഹ്മാനന്ദത്തിൽ ലയിക്കാൻ പറ്റും, എന്നാൽ സംബന്ധിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു.
Okay. The question from Satya is that it is natural on our side that, we are the limited body and our experience are due to the, body limitations and everything. So, what is the percentage of success we can achieve in knowing that we are Brahman? This is his question. സത്യ ഞാൻ ആദ്യം ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ മറുപടി പറയാം എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ മലയാളത്തിൽ മനസ്സിലായിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. So I'll first explain in English. If he wants, I'll explain that in the Malayalam language later. See,
ഓക്കെ, കുഴപ്പമില്ല സാറ് ഫ്രീഡം. ഓക്കെ,
see the problem is that we are limited by the body itself is the problem. We are not able to understand what is the reality. Brahman is not different from you because Chandogya Upanishad mantra says that Tatu Tvamasi. That Brahman, the example that there is giving to that from where the creation is taking place, in which the creation is existing, and into which that creation is dissolving. That is what is Brahman, is the definition. That Tat is Tvam, is you, because you are also being created, you are also existing, and you are also dissolving. So if the definition of creation, existence, and dissolution is from which the is happening is Brahman, you are also going through that. Can you be different from Brahman? So when we do the inquiry properly, when we see that everything in the world is also going through this aspect of creation, sustenance, and destruction, I am also part of the world. So whoever is what is the totality of the truth of the world is the truth of myself also. I cannot be different from the world. So when you do this, the experience when you have about that reality is 100%. There is no percentage of it. Either you get it or you don't get it. It is that's like that. Because you don't get it, because if you think that you are not who you are, still thinking that you are the body which has got creation and dissolution. But where does the body come from? Where the body is existing and into which the body is dissolving. If you know that not as the body, because the body is also seen as an object like the tree, that the animal or any plant or a mountain. You can also see your own body as separate from you. You are the seer of your body. So when you are seer of the body, and when you are looking at that, there is a method in which the Shastra is telling the one who's seeing, does that entity has a creation, sustenance, and dissolution? If that person or if that entity doesn't have a creation, sustenance, and dissolution, he has to be the one who is doing the creation, sustenance, and dissolution, because he is separate from the created, he is separate from the sustenant one, he is separate from the dissolved one. So he must be there as the creator or the Brahman. Now, what is he? He has to be the total of you, not the one who is in the waking world alone. Because the waking world alone is only 1/3 of your experience. You have dream and deep sleep as your experiences also. So you have to take that one which is creating the waking, which is creating the dream, which is creating the deep sleep, and knowing that these experiences are happening as a knower of everything. When you know that, that is the time when you know that you are not just the waker, you are not just the dreamer, you are not just the deep sleep one. You are the witness for all these three. But the witnessing is all the three is available only when you are going through these experiences. But when the experiences are not there in the deep sleep, were you a sakshi to the deep sleep? No, even the sakshi was not there in the deep sleep because there was nothing to see or experience. Therefore, that sakshi term also is only possible for Jagrat and Swapna, waking and dream. From the deep sleep point of view, not as deep sleep, but the entity in the deep sleep, there is no witnessing also, therefore it is not even sakshi. When you realize that, that is the time, it is the waking is coming from that, the dream is coming from that, and when into which it goes back. When the experiences are finished, where did the waking go? Into deep sleep. Where did the dream go back? Into deep sleep. It is not deep sleep, that entity which we think is deep sleep. So from that the waking comes, the dream comes, sustains while the experience is happening. After the experiences are over, they merge back into that. So that entity is my true nature, not the one who is in the waking, but the one who is beyond the witness, beyond the sakshi. That is the nature of Atma or Brahman. This is what the Shastra says. മനസ്സിലായോ സത്യ? സത്യന്
സാറൊന്ന്
മനസ്സിലായോ?
ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് മലയാളത്തിൽ ഒന്നും കൂടെ ഒന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് കുറച്ച് കമ്മിയാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഗ്രാസ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള എളുപ്പത്തിന് വേണ്ടി.
ഇതിനാണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്, മലയാളത്തിൽ നമ്മുടെ കഠോപനിഷത്ത് അല്ല കേനോപനിഷത്തിലുള്ളടത്ത് വന്ന് ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കണം. അവിടെ ഇരുന്നിട്ട് അവിടെ ഓഡിയൻസിൽ ഇരുന്നിട്ട് ചോദിക്കാൻ തോന്നുന്നില്ല. മുകളിൽ വന്ന് ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കണ്ട, ഈ ചോദ്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ അവിടെ ചോദിക്കണം. കാരണം അവിടേക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഇവിടെയുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ മുഴുവൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷുകാരാണ്, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാനത്. എനിവേ, ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ സ്വപ്നം, ജാഗ്രത്, ഈ രണ്ടിലുള്ള നമ്മുടെ അനുഭവങ്ങള് എവിടേക്കാ മറയുന്നത്? ആ മറയുന്ന സ്ഥലത്ത് ഞാനില്ല, ദേശമില്ല, കാലമില്ല. ആ ദേശകാലം ഇല്ലാത്ത സാക്ഷിയുമല്ല, കാരണം ഒന്നും കാണാനില്ല, ഒന്നും അനുഭവിക്കാനില്ല, അപ്പൊ സാക്ഷിയും കൂടെയല്ല. ആ ഉള്ള സ്ഥലത്തുള്ള അതിൽ നിന്നാണ് ഈ ജാഗ്രത്തിലുള്ള ഞാനും എൻ്റെ ഈ ജാഗ്രത് ലോകവും വരുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ ആ ജാഗ്രത് ലോകവും ഞാനും ഇല്ല ഞാൻ സ്വപ്നത്തിൽ പോകുമ്പോ. സ്വപ്നത്തിലുള്ള ഞാൻ വേറെയാണ്, അവിടെ സ്വപ്ന ലോകവും വേറെയാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഈ സ്വപ്നവും ജാഗ്രതും ഒക്കെ വരുന്നത് എവിടുന്നാണ്? അത് സുഷുപ്തി എന്നാണ് വരുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ ആ സുഷുപ്തിയിലുള്ള എന്ത് സാധനമാണേലും വേണ്ടില്ല, എന്ത് കുടച്ചക്രായാലും വേണ്ടില്ല, ആ സാധനത്തിന് പേര് എന്ത് പറയാനും പറ്റില്ല, അതിന് സാക്ഷി എന്നും കൂടെ പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല. കാരണം അവിടെ കാണാനൊന്നുമില്ല, അനുഭവിക്കാനൊന്നുമില്ല. അതിൽ നിന്നാണ് എല്ലാം വരുന്നത്, അതിലേക്കാണ് എല്ലാം തിരിച്ചു പോണത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അതാണ് ബ്രഹ്മെന്ന് ശാസ്ത്രത്തിൽ പറയണത്. കൊണ്ട് അതന്നെയാണ് എന്റെ സ്വരൂപം എന്ന് എനിക്ക് ആലോചന കൊണ്ട് മനസ്സിലാവും. അപ്പോഴാണ് ഞാൻ 100% ഞാൻ തന്നെയാണ് ബ്രഹ്മം എന്നുള്ള അനുഭവം വരുന്നത്. മനസ്സിലായോ?
മനസ്സിലായി. അതെന്താ വെച്ചാല് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കാൻ കാരണം എന്താ സാറേ, ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ ജസ്റ്റ് പറയാം, സാർ ഒന്ന് ട്രാൻസ്ലേറ്റ് പറയാം. അതായത് എനിക്കൊരു മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട് ലൈഫിൽ, ആദ്യമായിട്ടാണ്. അതെന്താ വെച്ചാല്
അവിടെ നിർത്തുകയാണ് ഞാൻ. സത്യനോട് മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് നടത്തുന്ന സമയത്ത് സത്യൻ അതിനെ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്തുവോ?
അത് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്തു. കാരണം നമ്മൾ കാണാത്തതാണ്, ഇതുവരെ
അപ്പൊ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്തതുകൊണ്ട് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ചെയ്ത സത്യനും എക്സ്പീരിയൻസിലുള്ള അതിന്റെ ഉള്ളിലുള്ള എക്സ്പീരിയൻസിന്റെ സാധനങ്ങളും രണ്ടും വേറെയാണ്. ആ രണ്ടും വേറെ ആവുമ്പോ അനുഭവിക്കുന്ന ആളും അനുഭവവും വേറെയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് എത്ര തന്നെ വലിയ മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് വന്നാലും ശരി, അത് നമ്മുടെ ആത്മരൂപമല്ല. Whatever may be that mystical experience, if it is an experience, there is an experiencer. Therefore, the experiencer knowing the experience of mystical nature is not giving rise to the nature of yourself. In the nature of yourself, നമ്മുടെ ആത്മത്തിന്റെ അനുഭവത്തില് അനുഭവിക്കാനുള്ള വസ്തു, the object of experience of the self and the self, there is no two, there is only one. So there is no experience. അതിൽ അനുഭവമില്ല, അനുഭൂതിയുള്ളൂ. അനുഭൂതിയില് അനുഭവ വസ്തു ഇല്ല. ഇതാണ് ഞാൻ മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് ഞാൻ ആരെയും സംസാരിക്കാൻ വിടാത്തത്. കാരണം നമ്മളെ തെറ്റിദ്ധാരണ കൂടെ വി വിൽ ബി ടേക്കൺ ഇൻ ടു എ റോങ് റൂട്ട്. എനി മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ്, വാട്ട് എവർ മേ ബി ദ ഹൈറ്റ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ് മിസ്റ്റിക്കൽ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ബി, എത്ര തന്നെ വലുതായാലും ശരി, നാല് ബ്രഹ്മാവിന്റെയും വിഷ്ണുവിന്റെയും ഒപ്പം കടന്നുറങ്ങിയെന്ന് കൂടെ സ്വണ്ടാൻ കൂടി ശരി, you cannot, it is not an experience, it's a dream or it is a hallucination. But knowing yourself, നമ്മളെ നമ്മൾ ഈ നിമിഷത്തിൽ അറിയുന്നുണ്ട്, പക്ഷെ നമുക്കത് അറിയാൻ പറ്റില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ് സത്യം. You can never know yourself as an object, but all the time you are knowing yourself, your existence is something which you cannot deny. നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് ഒരിക്കലും നമുക്ക് നിഷേധിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Therefore, you have to keep out all experiences as part of transaction, whether it is normal, mystical, out of the world, or even, after death experiences. It is still there is an experiencer and the experiencing which is happening. So that is not the self knowledge or knowledge about yourself. ഇത്രേ പറയാനുള്ളൂ എനിക്ക്.
അതെ, അതിനകത്ത് എന്റെ ഒരു ഇത് പറയാം. സാറ് പറഞ്ഞതിനകത്ത് ഞാൻ എതിർപ്പ് പറയില്ല. പക്ഷെ എന്റെ എന്താ വെച്ചാൽ, ഞാൻ അന്ന് കണ്ടതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതുവരെ കാണാത്ത ഒരു അനുഭവമാണ്. കാരണം നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നതാണെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് പറയാം, നമ്മൾ കണ്ടതൊക്കെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ സ്വപ്നത്തിൽ കാണും. പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ അന്ന് കണ്ട സംഗതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് കാണാത്തതാണ്, ഇതുവരെ കാണാത്ത ഒരു എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആണ്. കാരണം ഇത് ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ലോകം, അതിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ എന്താ പറയാ, നമ്മുടെ ശരീരം 3 അവസ്ഥയിലേക്ക് മാറിപ്പോകും. അതായത് 3 അവസ്ഥ എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ നിൽക്കുന്ന പൊസിഷൻ, ഡ്രീം പൊസിഷൻ, നിൽക്കുന്ന കടക്കുന്ന ലോകം, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വേറെ ലോകം, 2ാമത്തെ പൊസിഷൻ, പിന്നെ അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവിടുന്ന് 3 മഹർഷിമാരാണ് നമുക്ക് കൂട്ടത്തിൽ. അപ്പൊ അവര്
സത്യ ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് കേൾക്കൂ. ഇത് ഈ ക്ലാസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അപരോക്ഷ അനുഭൂതിനെ കുറിച്ചാണ്. So let us keep the discussion. Binduji, with your consent, can we go to Srinivasti and then continue this later?
Okay, no problem.
Because it doesn't. Thank you.
സത്യം മറ്റേ റൂമിൽ സംസാരിക്കാം നമുക്ക് ഇതിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട്.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Srini.
Srini, your mic.
We can't hear you, Srini. You may have to go out and come back, or touch your screen and try that. Now you try.
We can't see a microphone.
Your mic is getting unmuted, but your voice is not coming through. Something similar happened to Ganesh Prasad the other day. Namaste, Venkat.
Hari Om Binduji.
Hari Om.
Binduji, while Srinivas joining, I think let's give the. Oh, I think his mic is on. Srinivas, you go ahead.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Srini.
Uh, yeah, just a quick question. So the way you explained this karma jnana difference in today's session, right? And
Mm,
also the importance of who am I. So I
mm.
think I was adding those two up, and I feel that once the who am I and who is this world, that kind of question is coming, or one has set out on that. That also kind of indicates that the sadhana-catuṣṭaya has fructified, right? So
Yes.
this correct, right? So then
Right.
this is like an overpowering thing. The who am I and this kind of thing, which kind of seems like it's far ahead, because the sadhana-catuṣṭaya is slightly somehow still connected to the karma kind of thing, right?
Yeah, that is why the shloka started with the word Ukta Sadhana. That is one who has acquired the fourfold qualities. For him, the vichara is the one which he has to start, or the inquiry he has to do after having endowed with the fourfold qualities.
Yeah, because sometimes the bigger discussions are going around. Did someone acquire the four? It seems like how anybody can know that they are sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. So here it means that whoever is able to do the who am I inquiry are sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, right? So I think that is what I think I got it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to check. Vrindaji. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Srini. Venkat?
Binduji, I was trying
Yes.
to put some, deductions as you took us through this. I'm trying to fine grain the path. Um, so the one is, contemplating on why the stronger knowledge of me as a body. That was that is available. Even you wake someone up in the middle of the night, are you a male or female? Without thinking twice, they answer it because it's gone deep, and without that identification is strong, that knowledge is strong as an experience. Basically, the anubhava. It's I'm not putting anubhuti yet. Anubhava. I am the body is gone deep in. Hence, this is a strong availability. The buddhi identified with the body with an experience. I'm male female. Now this is a basic structure. Now the side effect is pain, pleasure, body grows. All that is side effect of identification. This is a basic structure. Now to get into vichara, the basic, I think the entry point here laid out is as much that the the shat sampatti is insisted upon. Now I understand. Now, with this class, I understand because of fine graining the ego, the presumption or the effect of ego will not come in the vichara, because otherwise the ego gives that strong influence of body identification, other identifications. It can muddy the vichara. This has happened to me. Um, So having Shat Sampati and mumukṣutā, fundamental desire to inquire into one's own nature. I think you said nicely, existence is available to all, but vichara is about inquiring into one's own nature in first place. That is not usual for anybody else except for our own innate capability like human. Um, so this vichara fundamental standing is clear the mind. Otherwise, that vichara can go bad. It can influence the process itself and muddy the water. Hence, forever the vichara continues perpetually as long the one patiently, continue to do so, till knowledge arise. This is the second deduction. Um, the third deduction, Binduji, is that nature, because identification with the body has a side effect, what is that one will achieve or recognize as a true nature doesn't have this side effects, which is the abundance you talked about, the the paramasukha, infinite bliss, infinite peace. Let that be the, because body identification causing such a side effect, if this identification to be shifted from what was body to this, it is all the mind process, right, Binduji? The shifting, the vichara is for the mind to shift the identification from this to that. Hence, further, that identification, shifting identification to that infinite self nature will open, for good. Now, there is a question about, you brought the doubt about, will that stay forever? Because it's superior than the side effect. So that's a logical way of putting it. But can you explain this anubhuti? Is anubhuti is objectless experience that infinitum, that's the indicator for anubhuti, or sambhuti, anubhuti. These words are used a little frequently. Binoji, can you clarify this between anubhava and anubhuti? Can you separate this out? And I'm just put three deductions here. I put hope, I think any corrections to this also appreciated.
Yeah, your first statement is that these inquiries can really fructify or happen only one who is endowed with the qualifications or the fourfold qualifications. For others, this inquiry itself will not be of any interest. You will not find anybody who is taking this inquiry in their, even in their solitudeness. Forget about in the crowd. Even in the solitude, they will not be inquiring about who am I in the solitude. No. Only when the maturity of the fourfold qualification gets ripened, the question will happen to people. Second deduction is also right. As per what you said is that the maturity of the inquiry nature, even when you are asleep, when you are awake or woken up from a sleep, you identify yourself. All what you said is that when you are woken up from your deep sleep, you are not the sleeper anymore. You are the waker. The waker will always identify with whatever the identification is there of the waker, whether he is a man or a woman or location or name, etc. So that goes due to the experience of the waker. The answer is from the experience of the waker of his own nature. The waker has to now dealing his experience of waking to know who he is in the waking, in the dream, in the deep sleep. When these three things are known to you, happening to you, you have to be separate from them. Otherwise, you would have always remained as the waker. The waker will think I am dreaming. The waker will think but I am sleeping. That is what is happening now. But is waking your reality? Because if you are losing something, that cannot be your reality. The waker is totally lost in the dream and the deep sleep. So the waker saying, I am the one who is dreaming, I am the one who is sleeping, is not valid, because if he is the one, he should also be present in the dream and in the deep sleep. That is not happening. The dreamer cannot say the other ways, nor even deep sleeper can say, I am the one who is in the waking, I am in the one in the dream, because deep sleeper has no transaction. But there is one awareness, which is knowing that I have waking, I have dream, I have deep sleep. That obviously has to be different from the three. That is why Chaturtam Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vitneya in the Mandukya, when we said. At that level, now I'm coming to your last question. Whatever happens in the waking, it is anubhava, in the sense that is an experience. What is happening in the dream is also anubhava, it's an experience as a dreamer. Whatever is happening in the deep sleep is also anubhava. That is why he remembers it, saying that I slept well. But the one who is knowing that I had waking, I had dream, I had deep sleep, that person is not having anubhava of waking, dream, or deep sleep, because he doesn't see waking, dream, and deep sleep as his experience, but as changing patterns of awareness. The change is in the awareness. My awareness of my waking, my awareness of my dream, my awareness of my deep sleep. It is not my experience of that waking, because there the waker is the one who is experiencing, not the fourth one or the sakshi. So what is the experience of the sakshi in relation with the three? That is not an experience. It is called an anubhuti. Anubhuti means awareness or knowledge. Anubhuti is a knowledge, whereas anubhava is an experience. In the anubhava, there is a content, there is a subject, the object, and the experiencing. In the anubhuti, the subject object is not separate, but the subject knowing the object is himself or itself, it can happen only in awareness. And that light in the awareness, or light of awareness, in which the witness aware of itself or knowing itself. I can't use the word knowing, because it's not, knowing is always considered to be an objective thing. Being aware of itself, that is what is called anubhuti. So anubhuti and anubhava has to be understood separately.
Clear, Bandhuji. Anubhuti eventually get reflected in buddhi also to communicate, like the way you're communicating. It reflects into the buddhi, like the buddhi had the same identification with the body as is the that we call avidya. So is the identification with larger nature is eventually get reflected into the buddhi as communicative knowledge, like guru communicates. Okay, this way. That also is the same process, right, Bandhuji?
It is not an intellectual experience or mental experience.
Yes, it is not.
It is not. But it is being explained for the purpose of those who can think, or those who can do the inquiry, to guide themselves. But the experience is not anubhuti. There, no, experience is not anubhava, in the sense that it is not an anubhava at that level. When it is being explained, it may appear to be an experience, but it is not an experience. It is right now how you are aware of your existence without name and form. You exist not as Venkat, but not as a human being, not as your body, not as a child, not as an old man, or not as whatever may be that, not as a person in Bangalore. But without all those things also, you have a awareness of your existence. It is not an experience of existence. Can anyone have an experience of existence? No. Experience can never be of existence. We call existence because we call it is I am, etc. Because the amness or isness is to the transaction which is happening to us. Suppose if I am say my mobile is, the existence of mobile I cannot know. The existence of mobile, only mobile can experience it. I am saying the existence of my mobile in my hand from the point of view of my transactional experience of a name and form, which I am assuming now to be, having the quality of existence. But that is not my experience. My experience is of the name and the form. Same way, my own existence, my own name and form is not what I am experiencing. But I have an experiencing or an awareness of my existence, which is undoubtedly unchallenged, and I don't know what word to use for it, but it is undeniable.
Yes, Benji. Inexplicably available.
Yes,
We'll leave it at this. Thanks, Benji. This brings that Anubhuti seems like need to contemplate further on
right.
this. Well, thank you, Benji. This is a good starting point. Thank you.
Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste, Bindoji.
Namaste.
It's a wonderful presentation that you gave between Anubhuti and Anubhava. You're saying that Anubhuti is the part of the knowledge or the true knowledge, and Anubhava is the experience of the experiencer. He still exists, whereas in Anubhuti, he or I doesn't exist. Is it what you are meaning?
We exist. The existence is there,
Yeah,
but
he
it is
exists. That experience is not there, but yeah, it is only to be contemplated, as
right.
Venkat said.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah. So the experience doesn't exist, but the
existence
aware,
exists.
the awareness, you cannot say it is existing because awareness cannot be objectified.
Yeah. And one more question. Today's lecture points at, or the Bhashya today points at, without vichara, with all those questions, who am I, who is the creator, and again, all those things, they were discussed in the Upanishad part, in all the Brahmādi, Shikshavali, everywhere, Upasana and other things. Then does the process of vichara exist even after discussing the Upanishads or knowing the Upanishads, or even after the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana? Does vichara still exist or should exist? Then is it
Vichara
not?
is
is it not an intellectual exercise again, or even after mumukṣutva, does vichara continue?
Yes, mumukṣut is only a beginning. Mumukṣutā will make you do the vichara. And the fructification of mumukṣutva will happen when the vichara will give you the anubhuti. At that time, thereafter there is no more vichara
No
required
more vichara.
because
Yes. Okay.
yes,
So it is only for the beginner. The beginning stage of a mumukshu. The vichara should start with all these questions, with a deeper understanding of the Upanishadic statements, and then at the fructification of it, that is at the dawn of the anubhuti, vichara ends no there.
yes, it is the praptasya prapti. It is already there. Right now it is there
Yeah.
with us.
That is one thing which is always, I mean, challenges and at the same time amuses us. How is it? It is already there with all these questioning and other things and experiences. It's wonderful to listen to that emphatic sentence that you keep telling. And yes, Bindoji, that is the thing I
Right.
wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh Prasad. Patrick, you are right. Advaitins have got identity crisis when they are in the path, but the identity crisis will be solved when they do the vichara, when they do the inquiry, and that when those things are satisfactorily, when he finds the answer for it, then he doesn't call himself an Advaitin. He calls himself as Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Then there is no identity. There is no crisis.
Shall we go ahead and close, Bindo?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We went over, but we had really good questions. A couple reminders. Just that, as I said at the beginning of the room, we will not have a room here this Friday or Sunday in respect of Bindo and some others here who are going on retreat. This retreat was discussed publicly in earlier rooms here, and some people are going to that. And so those two rooms will not occur. We'll continue Aparokshanubhuti next Wednesday, which I think is June 25th. And pretty soon that'll be reflected in the Clubhouse calendar as well. And then just for people who to just remind ourselves, where I am very far away from India, that every time we have the privilege to come to a clubhouse, a room with Bindaji, we can certainly treat it as retreat, treat it as our personal time to ask whatever we need to ask, and to really treat this space as a sacred place where we are safe to bring forward whatever we want and be intimate with each other. So hopefully we'll all do that. For those who posted things in the chat and otherwise, and some of the questions even that were being raised on the stage today, we can just remember the topic of this series of classes will give us a huge amount of opportunity over time to really explore every question about awareness, what we are, how we do inquiry in a setting outside of an Upanishad where we can bring our own questions forward, and that'll guide Bindo and what he shares with us. So we can all feel included, even if we're not attending that retreat, which is really simply an opportunity for those who could be in person. Okay, with all of that, thank you so much. There, Prakash is. So give us a few hours anyway to get the calendar changed, and we will see you all here again on Wednesday. Bindo?
Thank you, Atmisha. Thank you, Prakash, Prasad, Satya, Srinivas, Venkat, and Ganesh Prasad for being there for the questions. Thank you all for the class. We will have the this coming weekend as a retreat in Mysore. Those who want to contact can get in touch Vinod or Venkat for details. Otherwise, we'll meet on next Wednesday with continuation of the verses from the next verse onwards. Hari Om. Thank you. Good night.
Good
Very
night,
well.
Guruji.
Good night.
Hari Om Ganji.